Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, trust talks, and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each episode of our program, we hope to give you a better understanding of what to expect, what to look for, and what to look out for so that you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. The HVAC industry constitutes the second highest number of BBB accredited businesses. In 2021, consumers turned to Better Business Bureau 2.4 million times to research HVAC companies. That's more than 6,500 inquiries a day. Home improvement projects can get expensive as consumers spend an average of $500 for HVAC services. Hopefully, with today's tips, you won't be left out in the cold. Victor Lopez is the owner of Heat Shock 2 out of Southington. It's a heating and air conditioning company. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
First of all, tell me a little bit about your business.
We provide heating and cooling services, 24-hour service, installation, and service.
You are an accredited business. Tell me the best way to deal with heating and air conditioning issues. I imagine it's preventive maintenance. So what does that mean? Why is it so important to have preventive maintenance on your heating or your air conditioning?
Preventative maintenance is a key into your unit running as efficiently as it can. You don't want to get caught out in the cold, and you don't want to be caught in the heat either. So it's best to get your equipment checked once in the spring and once in the fall to make sure it's running at its very best efficiency.
I was just going to ask, how often should you get your furnace or air conditioner tuned up? So you say once a year for each?
Correct, yes.
Now, does it matter what kind of fuel you have? Like, we have oil, and I know when we bought our house, it hadn't been checked in a couple of years, and they said it had gotten really dirty. Is it more important if you have oil to get that annual checkup?
Correct, yes. I would recommend anyone that has any kind of oil fuel, get it serviced once a year, have a professional come in and take care of it. That way it gives you a state of mind of knowing that it's taken care of.
Why is that? Why does the different fuel type matter?
Well, oil, it can sit up more, where gas burns more efficiently.
Okay, that makes sense. So someone comes to your house, you get the typical tune-up. You know, they're down there in my furnace room. I don't see them. I don't know what they're doing. Take me through what the technician is doing when they come to the house.
All right, so say you have a gas-fired furnace, all right? When we come down, we check the flues, make sure the flues are clear so the exhaust can come out fine. If it doesn't reach pressure inside, then your furnace won't kick on. Meaning sometimes birds, any kind of rodents can get into the piping system and clog it up and not let it function the way it should. That's why it's important to have it checked once a year.
Okay, very good. So they're down there, they're cleaning it up,
Correct.
They're checking it.
Changing the filter, making sure you're burning the right kind of fuel. You know, the pressure's coming in and out of the gas valve. Making sure it's burning to the right efficiency, checking to make sure there's no CO coming through the house, meaning making sure that that heat exchanger isn't cracked.
Okay, would you also be looking at my oil tank?
Correct. We'll check the gauge on the oil tank, make sure it's working correctly. You know, my daughter just recently, her oil tank wasn't working correctly, so we installed a digital gauge on it to be able to read, so it goes right to her phone.
Okay, and then what about in the summertime for your air conditioning? Don't wait till the summer, first of all, right? Get it done in the spring.
Let me tell you something. That is one of people's biggest mistakes. It's, oh, it's working fine right now, I'll just wait. What ends up happening, say something as easy as your filter being plugged up. It'll shut off your unit because it's like you running with a rubber band around your neck. Sooner or later, you're going to fail, right? So it's very important to get these things checked out in the spring so that way you can operate all through the summer without any issues.
One of our goals at Better Business Bureau is to alert people of scams. I talked about the fact that HVAC, we get a lot of inquiries about HVAC at BBB. What are the most common scams you see in your industry?
Just with the contracts. You know, people take deposits, not give people contracts. At least if you have a written and signed contract, then you have something that's reliable. Make sure you check out, you know, whose website you're on. Make sure you do a little bit of background on them as well, which is another big reason that we have the military veteran-owned business on the side of our trucks. So when we pull up to your house, you know what kind of service you're going to get.
Yes, you are a military veteran as well.
Correct.
And so, you know, by hiring someone like you, you're supporting our military too.
Absolutely, 100%.
What about shoddy work? I mean, we're not experts. How are we supposed to know whether their work is being done correctly?
So you're getting something put in, right? Brand new. It's always good to have them pull a permit. That way the town inspector can come through. That's what they're there for, to ensure that not only is it put in correctly, but it's also safe for the homeowner.
If someone contacts you out of the blue, knocks on your door, says, hey, I'm in the neighborhood doing some work, is that a red flag?
Absolutely, 100%. Very rarely or seldom do you see any HVAC company going door to door, knocking, saying, hey, we're offering X, Y, Z. Never give them your money. It's something that I strongly would suggest that you do a little bit of background search into first.
Any other tips that you have to avoid being scammed?
It has a lot to do with, you can look on people's background. You can look on their websites, Google them, make sure that they are an accredited business. That's why the Better Business Bureau is such a good tool for homeowners, so they can go and look and go see the ratings, go see if there was complaints. And sometimes, not every company is perfect. You'll have complaints, but it's also on there a good tool for us as contractors to be able to defend those complaints and say, well, we installed this thing 4 years ago, they never maintained it, of course it failed.
Yeah, at bbb.org you can look up to see if they
Correct.
are a company. First of all, if they're accredited, what kind of reviews people have left, what kind of complaints, if there's a pattern of complaints. And
Correct.
like you said, it also gives the businesses an opportunity to defend themselves.
100%.
And you can kind of read those, it's all public.
Correct.
What should you ask a heating and air conditioning company that you're considering hiring? What are the important questions to ask?
How many years of experience do you have? How long have you been in business? And are you accredited through the Better Business Bureau?
Are there any licensing requirements or
Yes.
professional credentials, organizations they should be a part of?
Yeah, so most of the time, you should ask for, are you licensed, insured?
Okay.
There's a copy of their licenses. Usually on our contracts, it's already at the bottom. So when we do a contract, say we're replacing your air conditioner, we make up a contract. At the bottom, you'll see our name and our license number.
Okay. What questions do you get asked the most?
Oh, how long is this going to last? How long do we quit? And it just strictly depends on the installation of the equipment. If you have somebody just throwing it in and getting out, it's probably not going to last long. So if you take your time and you install things correctly and you make sure that they're running correctly and you maintain them as recommended every year, your stuff should last for years.
What question do you wish prospective customers asked you?
That I wish that they asked me.
Anything that comes up that very commonly that you're like,
Well, what I wish they'd ask me is, hey, we've got other buildings. Would you be willing to do them?
that's the commercial side
That's
of things,
correct,
right?
yes.
Because you do both. Do you have a busy season?
Right now, spring, fall, winter, anytime. That's why you always need heating, and you always need cooling. This is why, which was one of my major decisions that I came to when I chose my trade.
You're never worried about the next job, huh?
No, everybody always needs heat, and everyone's always wanting cooling.
So how long have you been accredited with BBB?
Since 2016.
And why was it important for you to get accredited?
Well, when we were going through our bids, we take care of a lot of the housing authorities throughout the state, but we wanted to break more into the residential sector as well. Mm-hmm. And that's why I chose to be accredited through the BBB, so customers could look at reviews, could look us up and get a little more information on us instead of just taking a salesman's word for it. It's there for public knowledge.
And what have you gotten out of accreditation since then?
A lot of referrals. A lot of recognition, and it's stuff that really helps us.
So HVAC is a $104 billion industry. You were just talking about the fact that you never really have to worry about work, but we did just come out of a pandemic where obviously supply chain issues, inflation. Are you being affected by all of that, or are you pretty much able to weather the economy right now? Because of course everyone always needs heat,
Right.
they need air.
Right, correct. So that, on that aspect of it, when we were all locked down for that year, okay, take in mind stuff was still breaking down.
Right.
And stuff still had to be maintained, because remember, this is indoor air quality and what was in the air.
True.
These viruses. So the industry was pretty good, and they came out with some pretty neat, units to go in your existing central air to eliminate all germs and viruses throughout your home.
So your business was pretty good then?
It was not bad, but as soon as people understood and believed what was going on, instead of 2 weeks turned into a month turned into 6 months, turned into a year, I think that's when a lot of people really started taking their indoor air quality more serious.
And probably still do.
Oh, yes.
Especially
definitely.
as we are in another flu season. What about supply chain issues? Is that having any sort of impact?
Yeah, it has. We've got units that have been on back order. Right now we're doing, something down by the Madison Beach Hotel. and we've been waiting on a couple of units to come in for about 3 months.
Wow.
And they finally got here, but it's a supply need. There's nothing that we can do about it, but thankfully, a lot of the homeowners are understanding, and they know, that these things are going to happen.
Pack your patience if you need to
Correct.
call an HVAC company. But I also imagine, when it's an emergency, if someone's out of heat, you are able to
100%.
probably get to them sooner.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a response time. If you call us, we'll call, and we don't answer, we'll call you back within 5 minutes.
Oh.
And within the state, we can get anywhere within the state within half hour to 45 minutes. So not only we're supposed to have a 4-hour response time, we'll have you up and running within that 4-hour response time.
Some companies, they'll have you sign like an extra contract where like you come to the front of the line if you have an issue after you've had that preventative maintenance and you've had the cleaning. Is that pretty common in your industry, and do you recommend that?
I don't do that because I treat every customer exactly the same.
Okay.
I don't put anybody above anybody else. To me, everybody's equal. So if you have no heat, I'll take care of you.
Okay.
If the contract customer has no heat, I'll take care of him as well. But it's not, there's no priority list.
No first come first. It's first come first serve.
Correct,
basically.
yes.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, spending some time with us today. Is there anything else that you would like our audience to know about hiring someone in the HVAC industry?
I just recommend that you highly do your background search on them. Make sure they're accredited by the Business Bureau. It's been put in place for a reason, and it's not for us, but it's to protect the consumers themselves.
When you're out of heat, or you're in the heat in the summertime, you might be in a rush to hire someone, but take those extra few minutes to do your research.
100%, I'd highly recommend it.
Victor Lopez, owner of Heat Shock 2 out of Southington. Thanks so much again for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Here are some other red flags to watch out for before hiring an HVAC contractor. Beware of free tune-ups. That freebie may turn into a high-pressure sales pitch. Always ask for credentials to make sure the contractor is properly licensed, insured, and bonded. Ask for any broken or old parts that need to be replaced to avoid being charged for parts that aren't actually worn out. And if someone asks for a large portion of the money up front, you should be suspicious. Among the more than 5,000 industries that BBB studies, HVAC ranks 7th for the amount of inquiries and 72nd for the number of complaints. The complaint resolution rate for BBB accredited HVAC businesses is 100%. You can look up accredited HVAC companies, read the reviews, look for patterns of complaint, and if you've had a good experience with your local HVAC company, leave a positive review and help others as they do their own research. That does it for Trust Talks. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.
The water's warm at Jaws Pond, and we're stocked full of treasures. Big or small, we buy it all. We buy and sell fast rides, power tools, vintage guitars, and so much more. Walk the plank in style with our fine jewelry, diamonds, and watches. Plus, we have a huge selection of the latest video games, including the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Jaws Pond, conveniently located on Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington and West Main Street in New Britain.